Today we're turning our leftover bits into a whimsical little botanical garden journal card, complete with a layered picket fence, full of stamping, layering, and little bits that would otherwise end up in the scrap bin or even the trash bin. I'm starting by building the base of our garden using rubber stamps, and I'm going to use ground espresso. Hi friend, it's Carrie from Created Me Creative, and welcome to my cozy little corner. So we're just going to build our little garden. You can use whatever stamps you have. If you don't have stamps, you could hand draw. I don't know how many out there are good at drawing, but it is a good option. I'm just going to build this little garden up very similar to this one, just using a few different stamps. I like the ground espresso because it's nice and dark, and it gives a good print. My vintage photo is just a little too light, so let's put this one over here. I don't want it to be exactly the same as the first one I made. So this little garden idea was inspired by a beautiful project by Kathy over at Attic Treasures, etc. She did this a few years ago, and I'll link the video below as well as her channel. She created such a lovely little version that I wanted to try it in my Botanical Bliss style. Now I'm doing mine on, it's a mixed media paper. Kathy did hers on an index card that she had covered with book page, and then she'd sewn around. I won't be sewing around mine today. I will be adding a little bit. I think I'm going to put this one over here. I will be adding just a little bit of a different layering on mine. There's that one. And I think I've got another one here that looks like a dandelion that I'm going to put on there as well. So this is a great little project to use up those strips that we have. And I've accumulated a lot with Botanical Bliss. I'm just going to stamp that in there too. There we go. And then I've got this one that I'm going to put across the bottom, and I'm going to use the green on this one so it actually gives another layer and another depth to this. As you can see, I have not cleaned my stamps. I just want to make sure that's sticking to the... And I will be using peeled paint, I think this one is called. It's a nice bright green. Now, I find that this stamp doesn't always give the best coverage, but we're going to give it a really good effort here. So I'm going to start it right on the edge. Yeah, so this is going to use up all those strips. I've got a bunch of them sitting here beside me, and I'll show you what we'll do with them in just 1 second. I hope you'll craft along with me. This one, it seems more complicated than it is. It's actually very, see, it doesn't stamp very well in the middle, but we're gonna get it to layer up. It's not as difficult as it looks. It's just a lot of layers, and push that down there. There we go. And then I'm going to add just a little bit more on this edge. There we go. Now I just have to clean up that mess. All right, stamps are done. All right. So then we're just going to work with our strips. And I've got some larger ones and I've got some smaller ones here. And let's just see here. I think this time I'm going to do, I have to definitely incorporate that purple. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I do have this little strip of the purple. This is a different color here. It's got the lines. I think the lines are going to be a little bit busy, but I also have that short one. I think that one, oh, you know what? Maybe I will do that. And then I will do, instead of doing 3 strips, or 2 strips, we'll do 3 and we'll make them a little skinnier. It's just going to look like a cute little picket fence along a country road. So we're just going to cut our little strips to the sizes that we want. And we're just going to make, they don't have to be all the same length. There's our start. I think I'm going to cut this one a little bit shorter. And then I like the angles. I don't want it all exactly the same. We'll do that. And then this one I'm actually going to cut back this way. There we go. So let's start with that. You can ink around them. I will, just because I don't like the white core. Although there's not much because it is a double-sided paper, so sometimes there is a core. This one doesn't, it's not that bad, but I'm going to still ink anyway. Okay, move those out of the way. So we'll get these ones down, and then we will do some up and down. These will be the rails, I guess is what you would call them. I'll go about there. Then we'll put the bottom one on, and then we'll put that skinny one in the center. So we'll have 3 rails on this one. And then we will do our pickets. It's such a quick little project again. I'm really enjoying these little projects that use what we have. And because you know me, I don't like to waste this. There we go. So now we can, they're not even straight, and I don't even mind that. So now we can work on some pickets up and down. And I've got some orange. I've got, well, actually that's more brown. Got the light beige. I've got more brown. I don't really have, I guess that would be considered orange. But I think I'm going to save that for something else. Let's see what's on the back side. There we go. So maybe we'll do, maybe we'll do 2 from this, and we'll do, I don't know, the green. I'm not sure yet. But I am going to cut a strip. They don't have to be straight. I'm just eyeballing it. We'll make it, I'm just going to cut it across the bottom. So we'll make it about yay tall. And then we'll do that one just a little bit taller. And we'll give it a little bit of a picket shape at the top. And then, I don't know whether to go with the dark green, get rid of these little bits. I think we'll try the light one. I did dark on this one, so we'll go with light on this one. So let me cut off a piece about yay big. And then we'll just cut this in half. And again, a little bit of a picket. And then some ink. And if they're too tall, we'll just cut some off the bottom. Yeah, that one's going to be too tall. So let's do that. And this one I'm going to leave that pattern on, so I'm actually just going to cut some picket from the top like that. There. And then none of them are exactly the same. I might add a fifth one depending on how this looks. I think I just have to do the end there. All right. So let's see here. I'll put that one there. And then we'll put that one. I think I'm going to make that one a little bit shorter. And then we'll put the other green one. It's not really green. It's kind of green. I think I'm just going to do 4 on this one, because they're just a little bit thicker than these guys were. So let's glue those down. See how quickly it comes together? And we're just using what we have. That's the beauty of these little projects. We're just using up what we have. And when we put this into Botanical Bliss, because we've used those bits and pieces, it will look like it was always meant to be, because we are carrying through that color palette, the patterns of the paper, and the botanical theme. And one more, and then we'll do some layering on top of it. So with part of my scraps, I also spent some time yesterday with my, what do you call it? My Sizzix, my Big Shot. And I cut out all of these little botanical bits. So we're going to use some of that to do some layering. And again, it's the same paper. I just used bigger strips that I had left over. I'm going to get rid of all these little tiny bits that I won't use. I'll keep the bigger ones because you never know. So that one I'll keep. That one I'll keep. These little guys I will get rid of. Actually, those ones I'll keep just in case. But these ones are too little. That's all the little bits that we cut off the top. And I will move this right out of our way. Now the edges on this, I just ripped with my, oh, there's some more paper. Let's get rid of that too. I just ripped it with my ruler, and I like the rough edge. I'm gonna ink around that super quick too. And I don't think that you would have to have a specific botanical journal to put these in, because they're just so cute. I think that they would work in any journal that's got the right colors and would allow for some florals and some butterflies. So, all right, I'll move that out of the way. So now we will pick some of these. I definitely want to add this purple one, I think. That mimics the stamp right there. So I do want to add that one. And I think I want to do something different than I did on the last one. So I think we will add this dark green guy. Maybe we'll put him here. And that'll add a little bit of height. We'll add some height. And then maybe, I know I have little tiny ones here. Maybe I could add this tiny one right here. I just want to make sure that those are not the same color. They're not. That one's lighter and this one's darker. So let's do that. Now this one I'm going to have to trim the bottom off so it doesn't go up too high. So let's do that. I will not be inking the edges of these guys, and it is finicky with the glue. So I'm going to fast forward through this so you don't have to watch me painstakingly try and put glue on these little gaffers. So I will be right back. Okay, I'll just get that one into place. There we are. So far, so good. Now what I want to do is I have this tiny, tiny, tiny little butterfly stamp, and I want to add 3 butterflies like I did on. So I'm just going to stamp 2. Yeah, we'll put it there. And then I am going to add one just like this here. And I like to add the string underneath so it gives it the 3D effect of a bigger body and antennae. So let's do that together. I don't like all this white, so I'm going to trim around. And that's part of the reason why I end up putting thread underneath, because I am not about to fussy cut around antennae. I am not that good of a fussy cutter. I know there's people out there that absolutely love fussy cutting. I'm getting there. I am getting there, I think. Okay, so we've got our little butterfly. He's going to go right in here, but I have to get some thread. And I always have thread around. So let's pull out my hands are all inky from that. Let's pull out just enough to form a circle, and then we'll ball it up, and then we will find 2 ends to stick out for antennae. So right now I'm going to put a dot right there, and I'm going to put some glue on the back of the butterfly as well. We'll do that. And I will stick it on the butterfly first, and you're going to get gluey. Slide that off the edge, and then we'll put it on the glue there. It's not exactly 2 antennae on that one, but it still has that same effect. Actually, there is a second one there. You just want to make sure it's going to stay. I don't glue the wings down to give it a little bit more of an effect, a nice layering look. And then I just want to add one more touch just to take it to the next level, because some of those stamps were like dandelions. So I want to add a little bit. I've got just a little bit of cream acrylic paint and a little bit of water. It was a bit of water. And I have two paintbrushes. And I'm just going to flick it kind of where these ones are that look like dandelions, to look like the fluff is floating. And that is our little card. It is so cute. It is so fun. And honestly, not difficult. And we used our scraps. And that is the best thing. Yeah. So that's it. I'll let this one dry. This one is already dry. They're similar, but not the same. And they are going to look so good in Botanical Bliss. I hope you give this a try. It was super fun. And definitely go over and check out the video, because Kathy has a couple of, it was a scrap busting video. She had a 2-part video, and this was part of the second one. So definitely go over and check that one out. And she's got some other really great ideas. And yeah, so that will be that for today. Thank you so much for being here. Blessings. Take care, and we'll chat soon. Okay, bye-bye.